Bhagavatam ki Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, entitled The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction, Text 25. Vishnu Maya Bhagavati Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Amshenam Karyarthe Sambhavishyati Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Shena Adishta Prabhunam Shena Katyarte Sambhavishyati Katyarte Sambhavishyati Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Shena Karyarthe Sambhavishyati Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Shena Karyarthe Sambhavishyati. Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Bhagavati Sammohitam Jagat Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Yaya samohitam jagat adishta prabhunam shena karyate sambhavishyati. Mataji. Maya bhagavati samohitam jagat adishta prabhunam shena karyate sambhavishyati. Vishnur Maya Bhagavati Mohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Shenam Karyate Sambhavishyati. Vishnu Maya, the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu. Bhagavati, as good as Bhagavan, and therefore known as Bhagavati. Yaya, by whom? Sammohitam, captivated. Jagat, all the worlds, both material and spiritual. Adishta, being ordered. Prabhunam, by the Master. Amshena, with her different potential factors. Karyarte, for executing business. Sambhavishyati, would also appear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. Purport. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate, Shvetashvara Upanishad. In the Vedas, it is said that the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are called by different names, such as Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Ultimately, however, the Lord's potency is one, exactly as electric potency is one, although it can act both to cool and to heat. The Lord's potency acts in both the spiritual and material worlds. In the spiritual world, the Lord's potency works as Yoga Maya, and in the material world, the same potency works as Mahamaya. Exactly as electricity works in both a heater and a cooler. In the material world, this potency, working as Mahamaya, acts upon the conditioned souls to deprive them more and more of devotional service. It is said, Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam. In the material world, the conditioned soul thinks of himself as a product of three guna, the three modes of material nature. This is the bodily conception of life. Because of associating with the three gunas of the material potency, everyone identifies himself with his body. Someone is thinking he is a Brahmana, someone a Kshatriya, and someone a Vaishya or Shudra. Actually, however, One is neither a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, nor a Shudra. One is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Mamai Vamsha. But because of being covered by the material energy, Mahamaya, one identifies himself in these different ways. When the conditioned soul becomes liberated, however, he thinks himself an eternal servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. When one comes to that position, the same potency, acting as Yoga Maya, increasingly helps him become purified and devote his energy to the service of the Lord. In either case, whether the soul is conditioned or liberated, the Lord is supreme. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya Dyakshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. It is by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the material energy, Mahamaya, works upon the conditioned soul. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartahan iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of the activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Within conditioned life, no one has freedom, but because one is bewildered, being subject to the rule of Mahamaya, one foolishly thinks himself independent. Ahankara vimudhatma, kartaham iti manyante. But when the conditioned soul becomes liberated, by executing devotional service, he is given a greater and greater chance to relish a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in different transcendental statuses such as Dasya Rasa, Sankhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. Thus, the Lord's potency, Vishnu Maya, has two features, Avaranika and Unmukha. When the Lord appeared, his potency came with him and acted in different ways. She acted as Yogamaya with Yashoda, Devaki, and other intimate relations of the Lord, and she acted in different way with Kamsa, Shalva, and other asuras. By the order of Lord Krishna, his potency, Yogamaya, came with him and exhibited different activities according to the time and circumstances. Karyarte sambhavishyati. Yogamaya acted differently to execute different purposes desired by the Lord. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.13, Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakriti mashrita. The Mahatmas who fully surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord are directed by Yogamaya, whereas the Duratmas, those who are devoid of devotional service, are directed by Mahamaya. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Paraya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatarini. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadara Shvasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vishnurmaya Bhagavati Yaya Sammohitam Jagat Adishta Prabhunam Shena Katyarte Sambhavishyati. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. So in this chapter, we hear how prior to Krishna's appearance, everything becomes already prearranged so that Krishna may appear in his natural setting, which is a spiritual setting. In the spiritual world, Krishna is never alone. We never see, or at least we shouldn't, sometimes we might see, but that's not correct, Krishna alone. He is always surrounded by his associates. He's always surrounded by his energy. It is not possible that the sun is just the globe. Then it wouldn't have a meaning of the sun. Sun is always surrounded by its energies, heat and light. In a similar way, Krishna is never alone. He's always associated with his different energies, with his different potencies. So he's never alone. He can never be alone. He can never be separated from his devotees. Neither his devotees, again, can never be separated from Krishna. Either his devotees are within the heart of Krishna, or the Krishna is within the heart of his devotees. There is practically never any kind of separation between Krishna and his devotees. Of course, sometimes that may appear in the case of those who are not momentarily as devoted to Krishna as in the original positional state they would be, but then that is just some kind of temporary, again, arrangement which is discussed here, worked under the same potency, but the potency known as Mahamaya, or even arrangement that may be made by the same potency, but the potency known as Yogamaya. Because then sometimes those who are very intimate devotees of the Lord, they feel separated from Him, but again, they're never separated in the mind, in the thought, maybe just on the level of that physical proximity, that separation, or as something as we know as Vipralamba Bhav or Vipralamba Seva may be manifested. So before Krishna appears anywhere, everything is already set. Everything is already arranged so that Krishna practically appears as within the spiritual world. And that is a spiritual world. There's no difference between any appearance place of Krishna within this material realm and spiritual world itself. So when Krishna is here, he's definitely surrounded by all the different associates that are already existing, that are there within the spiritual world. Krishna is never therefore separated from them. So just as we hear, Lord Balaram came as the elder brother, he appeared. So all the associates, as we know in the description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, also so many different associates appear before him so that they can assist in his different pastimes through which he performs different interactions with his devotees, and of course attract those who are not his devotees, who are covered by this Yogamaya potency. So everything is prearranged, and therefore wherever Krishna is, there is a spiritual world. And within that spiritual world there are always some kind of associates that are there that associate with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would give example of a king. King never travels alone. He is always surrounded by his entourage. He always has different potencies, different energies also, so to say, in form of his ministers, in form of his soldiers, in form of so many different personnel who are assisting him. So he's practically never alone, or at least he shouldn't be alone as long as he is representing somebody on the position of a king. So in the same way, Krishna is never alone. He's always surrounded by his potencies. And he cannot be separated from his potencies. This is what it's also very interestingly stated here. It is said that that potency is as good as the Supreme Lord. So it is as good. So Krishna can become his, or manifest his potency, or that potency can also, to some extent, act in a way that Krishna does. It is achintya beda beda tattva, simultaneous one and difference. So Krishna cannot be separated from the potency. Like Srila Prabhupada would give example again. Sun cannot be separated from its rays. They're always existing simultaneously. And what is interesting here also is to note, as Srila Prabhupada points out, that Yoga Maya is no different than Mahamaya. It's the same potency. It just depends how it is manifested, in what kind of circumstance, at what kind of place and time. It is the same potency. And as we often hear, the example of electricity, heater and the cooler. And just by the expertise of an engineer is able to utilize the same energy in a different manner, depending on the purpose of it. So that same energy, as we know in the example of Kamsa, when Yoga Maya was transferred from Vrindavan to Mathura, was taken as a small girl, and then Kamsa also decided he wanted to dash her on the stone, kill it as well as all the other sons of Devaki earlier. She slipped from his hand just before she was about to be trashed, and she appeared as a Durga, his worshipable deity Durga Devi. And she told him, "You fool, Kamsa, you think you can kill me, and the child that you're desiring to kill is already born somewhere else." And Kamsa was terrified upon hearing this and seeing his worshipable deity Durga being manifested. Actually, it was a Yoga Maya. And she said, "You don't have to kill, you're unnecessarily killing all these children throughout Vraja, because that child is already born." So this is how Kamsa was bewildered. And this is the potency of the Yoga Maya or Mahamaya, the bewildering potency. Of course, and then simultaneously enlightened in a way to perform different pastimes and lilas that are required to happen for the Lord, again, in order to either exchange different types of rasas, qualities, a relationship with his devotees, or in order to attract somebody who is not a devotee, who will be, or who is hearing about those same pastimes. So Yoga Maya acts in such a way that she essentially engages the devotee who is willing to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Or she's engaging a devotee who is willing to start serving Lord Krishna in any particular way. This is the function of Yoga Maya. She therefore is the same energy, of course manifested in a different way, in order to attract someone or engage in the service of Lord Krishna. So Yoga Maya acts in a different way, in a different ways, and also she has different expansions. Jiva Goswami, and in Lagu Bhagavatamrita it is also mentioned, which is given as well as in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said there are 16 different potencies of Yoga Maya. So there are unlimited energies, they're unlimited in a way potencies, but of course 16 are the major ones. And as we heard yesterday in a class by Tattvavid Prabhu, mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada gives this very wonderful analogy comparing all these different energies and potencies and expansions to the body. And then like in the body there is a hand, and then that hand has also the fingers, and on fingers there are nails. So that different parts are compared to different potencies, but they're all connected, they're all one. Simultaneously, again, one and different. So there are so many different kinds of expansions. So in the Vrindavan, interestingly, the expansion of Yoga Maya, there is mentioned to be a Vrinda Devi, which arranges the most intimate pastimes of the Lord in the Madhurya Rasa, because she's like a young gopi. She's having, in that sense, access to all the intimate pastimes of the Lord, and therefore she is arranging those. And then another person who is arranging all these different other pastimes that are taking place in Vrindavan, it's Purnamasi. Purnamasi, she's an elderly lady, and she's the grandmother of Madhumangal. And she's like some kind of a renunciate, ascetic. And she is the one, of course, that's her external appearance. But she arranges all the different pastimes of the Lord. Like we know, when there was almost an instance of Krishna marrying to Srimati Radharani, and then Purnamasi said, oh no, this is not good. This actually shouldn't happen. Because of course it would diminish that very intimate relationship that Krishna and Radharani have. So she made arrangement that actually that doesn't happen. So that Krishna and Radharani, in essence, don't become married. And then she also made the arrangement that Radharani marries Abhimanyu. So that different kinds of pastimes may take place. So this is the field of Purnamasi. She deals practically with everything else in Vrindavan, all the different leelas, all the different pastimes. She makes the different arrangements so that all the devotees there can be engaged in that direct service of Krishna. And as here Srila Prabhupada points out, all the devotees like Devaki, Yashoda, all the intimate associates, all the manifestations of the internal potency of the Lord, they're engaged under the Yoga Maya, that is spiritual world. And then of course Vrinda Devi, she has that very, very close service, very intimate service when she engages different gopis with Lord Krishna, in the pastimes with Lord Krishna. And that happens then of course, when in different kunjas and when Rasa Leela takes place and so on. So this is how Yoga Maya engages devotees in the service of Krishna. So that very same energy can also engage all of us in the service of Krishna. Now desiring whether we want to be engaged in the service of Krishna or we don't want to be engaged in the service of Krishna. That is the difference. So that same potency, same energy therefore will manifest itself towards us in a way that whichever we desire. As we know, there is nothing between Krishna and his energy, namely his external energy, because we, as Tatashta Shakti, are placed in between. So there is nothing for us except either external energy or Krishna himself. Srila Prabhupada, in one lecture, he points out that it is just like a person and a shadow. So there is nothing in between. Either we choose a person or we choose the shadow. So there is nothing in between. So as soon as we are not with Krishna, then material energy will come and embrace us. Immediately, we are captured. So there is nothing. As soon as we are not Krishna conscious, we are captured by the external material energy. And this is how material energy performs her duty. Here it's also said, she was summoned by the Lord. She was ordered by her master to appear, to execute different orders of him and perform different activities, prepare the field for the Lord to appear, and in this way serve the Lord. So when this is not the case with us, then we are subjected to be therefore under either material energy or spiritual energy, which is essentially, as this example of the electricity, it is the same energy. It just depends on us, which one do we want to become subjected to. So when Srila Prabhupada would be asked, like, what is our free will? What is our choice that we have? In essence, we don't have a lot of choice. We don't have some enormous free will to choose what do we want, what do we desire. It is just either we serve Krishna or we don't serve Krishna. So therefore, either we are under the material potency of the Lord or we are under the internal potency of the Lord. That's all. That's all. In one conversation, it was interesting, Giriraj Swami would point out to Srila Prabhupada, said, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes we are in Maya. I was talking about some things. And Srila Prabhupada snapped at me and he said, what do you mean sometimes? Say, always you're in Maya. So we are practically pretty much, of course, we are covered by that external material potency, except when we desire, except when we make that choice of trying to serve Krishna. And then Yoga Maya takes over. then that internal, then that same potency is manifested as Yoga Maya. Because what does the Yoga Maya do? She arranges everything so that we can serve Krishna, because she wants us to serve Krishna. So she helps us in so many ways that we can serve Krishna. But when that is not the case, then that same potency is acting like a curtain. The example is given, it's just like a curtain. It covers us. We don't want Krishna, fine. Krishna is not there. Like here on the altar, when the altar opens and closes, there is a curtain. Okay, we don't want to see Krishna, curtain closes. There is no Krishna. So we can be in the Maya. We can be in that illusion that we can be separately controller and enjoyer. So this is how material energy acts. And then Yoga Maya, she's engaging us in Krishna's service and creating all incredible, wonderful circumstances through which we even ourselves cannot understand are manifested so that we can serve Krishna. Like when the early days, whatever, the early days are still even now, but sometimes when when I decided to become more serious with my spiritual life and kind of surrender to ashram, to join, it was just so interesting that earlier it seemed so difficult. Everything seemed so difficult. Everything was like, there were so many obstacles, so many difficulties. Why? Actually, I wasn't so serious. I was still considering and kind of weighing things, maybe like this, maybe that, maybe something else, maybe. I was always some kind of difficulty in terms of dedicating myself to perform devotional service. But at the point when I kind of became fed up with everything and decided, okay, let me try this, let me surrender more, let's see what happens. And then it was so interesting that, which I could understand somewhat now, that Yoga Maya became active and started opening all the doors. Whatever in relationship at that point to Krishna I had desire to, everything was manifested, everything was happening. And I had a feeling like as if you're walking through any kind of gate and the doors are just sliding, like some automatic doors, just sliding open. You don't have to make any kind of endeavor. All I had to do is just walk through. So what I said at home, everybody just, I won't say what I said, but anyway, everybody just accepted. Everybody just accepted. It was just inconceivable that how is this possible? How is this possible? But everybody just accepted as absolute truth. Okay, fine. And then I left. I went to some other country. I left there. And then very interestingly, I did some service there. And then I was given service. I was sent to some other place. But what was interesting at that time, as it mid-90s, that there was a requirement in Europe that time for the visas. And I didn't have one. And then how am I supposed to perform that service? Because I didn't apply, there was no any attempt to even get the visa for that other country. But still, somehow, me and two other devotees, we decided, okay, let's just go. Let's board the train, and with the train we were crossing the border, and here comes the person who is some kind of officer checking the passports. And he came to our compartment. But very interestingly, we handed our passports, but there was another man who started quarreling with that person because he woke him up. And he was some kind of a local person. They spoke in a local language. And they started quarreling about something which seemingly, it was something just unnecessary, just completely unnecessary. And that person looked at our passports. He practically didn't see anything. He just did mechanical work, and he handed the passports back to us. He didn't see anything. There's visa, no visa, what it was, which he completely oblivious, completely covered, we would say, by Yoga Maya, by that kind of instance that happened. And we went through. It's amazing arrangement of Yoga Maya. And then it didn't stop there. Then we were supposed to cross from that country to another country. And there also there was some screening. And we just passed. And interestingly enough, another devotee was stopped who had all the legal documents, everything was fine. And he just passed behind me. And I passed also there. And then at that time I came from Sweden, I came to India. And it was another interesting thing that, when I was exiting, nobody stopped me and nobody asked me how come I'm in the country practically illegally, so to say, without any visa or anything as such. Again, another instance of Yoga Maya. So you can see that when we decide to perform devotional service, that Yoga Maya acts in such a wonderful, amazing ways. It just covers whomever it has to cover and allows us to perform some kind of devotional service. So this is the activity of the Yoga Maya. So it's not necessarily that just has to happen in Vrindavan, but it may happen anywhere, as long as we are determined to perform that devotional service. I remember one instance when it was very interesting story of Prithu Prabhu. He says that when in early days when they started preaching in Eastern Europe, they were trying to smuggle the books, Srila Prabhupada's books, which was practically impossible. It was not allowed, and devotees were thinking of any ways and means somehow how to get books so they can preach, they can use them, they can distribute them. And it was always very, very difficult. It was something that eastern part of Europe was known as Iron Curtain. It was again another kind of curtain of Maya, but it was Iron Curtain. It was known as Iron Curtain. And you could hardly penetrate through that iron. But the devotees were successful because again, how? By the mercy of Yoga Maya. So he tells a very interesting story. He said, we came to the border. First of all, we heard about one fair, book fair. So we thought we'll take all the Prabhupada's books and we'll present it on the fair. And of course, on the fair you can sell the books. So they wrote to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave content. Prabhupada agreed. Prabhupada told them, yes, please go. He gave his blessings. And so they came to the border with a van full of books, maybe 5,000, 10,000 books, full van of the books. And they wrote to the organizer and they received a letter of kind of participation that they could participate. But then when they came to the border and that officer stopped them and he asked them, what do you have? They said, we have books. He said, how many? Well, we have, thousands of books. And then that person said, impossible, you cannot get into that country. You cannot, But then they were insisting, can we see your superior? Now here we have an invitation we wanted to present. And then, they managed to get to somebody who was superior. But then that superior person said, yes, you can come, but you can take 10 books. That's all you can do. And they were like, oh no, what's the use? It's like so much effort and everything, 10 books, but there's just practically, there's no utility out of it. So they were thinking what to do. Then they thought, okay, let's go to another border crossing. Let's go to another border crossing. So they drove to another border crossing. They thought, let's try there. And then they were thinking what to do, and still there was no sign yet, any kind of a thought or idea what to do. And so they sat down and they started taking two devotees, taking prasadam. And as they were eating, there was some dog who was, it seemed to be very hungry. And he smelled the chapatis. And then one devotee just, okay, since dog was there, practically sometimes when you eat, sometimes they disturb you. So he tried to get rid of them. So he broke a piece of chapati and he threw it, and the dog ate. But then again, the dog came very soon and asking for more. So then again, devotee gave him a little bit. And then Prithu Prabhu said he said, I got the idea. So why don't we take that dog? So then they pulled that dog in front of the van. Somehow or other, devotees and the dogs, it doesn't really get together. You wouldn't put your dog somewhere. But somehow or other, he was inspired by what? Again, Yoga Maya, or Krishna, better to say. But Yoga Maya made the arrangements afterwards. So they pulled the dog into the van. They drove to the border, which was just, he said, some 100 yards from there, very close. And then, of course, the officer comes, inspecting, asking that, why are you here? Why do you want to enter the country? What is this? So they said, there is some book fair, this and that. But then the officer noticed the dog. And his full attention was just focused on the dog. He said, okay, but this dog cannot enter this country. And then Peter Prabhu said, oh no, but that's, it's my dog. How can, it's like a wife You don't leave your wife behind. What will she say? You can't leave I can't leave the dog. It's like a family member. But the officer was insisting, no, the dog cannot enter the country. No, but how? We have to enter now, and this dog is with us. No, the dog cannot enter the country. And they were like kind of pulling back and forth, but dog cannot enter the country. And then Prabhu somehow said, okay, but what if I let the dog go? And then the officer said, you can enter then. And within few seconds, they opened the door, let the dog go, and they just they passed through. And they sold so many books, and it was very successful. It's just Yoga Maya. So he points out, he actually said, that officer, something that he does every day, every moment practically while he's doing his job, his service, he's at work, he would go behind, he would open, he would check everything. Sometimes, I remember also, we would be passing such kind of borders, they would practically dismantle the whole car, looking what is there that passes through, that goes this and that. They would, to that extent. So something that he does every day, he was so focused on that dog that he forgot to open the van and see all these books inside. So that's the arrangement of Yoga Maya. So Yoga Maya can make wonderful arrangements if we want to serve Krishna. If we want to serve Krishna. So we all definitely have some kind of instance when we can see, when we decide to serve Krishna. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said that the word impossible, it's in the Fool's Dictionary. Because if we decide to serve Krishna, like in early days, devotees, like I was told Brahmananda, okay, you organize printing press, you do this. It's something devotees never did in their life. How is it possible? It is possible. It is possible. By Krishna's arrangement, by the arrangement of Yoga Maya, she will enable one and create a circumstance that one can perform that kind of devotional service, or any kind of devotional service. But then if we decide, it isn't possible, then what does that mean? We chose to be covered by Mahamaya. And then we won't perform devotional service. Then what will we perform? We'll be attracted by some material desires and be engaged in the service of Mahamaya. That's all. Because Mahamaya, she has two potencies. Avaratmika and Prakshapatmika. So Avaratmika means she attracts, she covers us, she bewilders us. That's what she does. And then Prakshapatmika, what it means, once we are bewildered because we don't want to serve Krishna, then we are kept down. We are kept, bound. We are kept bound. Even if we try to rise due to the sufferings, that we caused practically to ourselves, she doesn't allow us. That's why she has, like Durga. What means Durga? All these different manifestations. Durga, like a jail, like a fort. Dur means difficult. So it's difficult. We are completely bound there and suffer in complete illusion because we don't want to serve Krishna. So that is that bewildering potency of the Lord. So here, as it is mentioned, we can choose which one do we want. We want to be bewildered. So that's our choice. We want to be bewildered serving Krishna, the most wonderful bewilderment under the Yoga Maya, or what? Or we want to be bewildered by, serving material energy, which there is no benefit. We just suffer actually. There's no benefit for anyone there. Even Mahamaya doesn't benefit. She considers this service to be such an ungrateful task. Such an ungrateful task. Keeping all these foolish, us souls bound here in this material world, practically suffering under the three modes of material nature and in separation from Krishna, being so bewildered. So this is what our only choice is. What do we want to be bewildered with? Like Yoga Maya, she bewilders Mother Yashoda. When she opened, when Krishna opened the mouth and she looked in Krishna's mouth, she was bewildered. And, when Krishna performs different activities, everybody is bewildered. Either sometimes apparently Krishna may seem like supreme person or something, or they're just bewildered thinking that Krishna is just a small boy. Like when Krishna does any naughty thing, then Nanda Maharaj would just say, he's just my son. He's just my son. Where is the question of him being supreme anything? So that is the work of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya bewilders Lord Balaram, or Krishna's potency, or Krishna directly. It's Krishna's potency. So even Balaram can be bewildered from 1 year till the time Aghasura appears, when Lord Brahma stole the calves and cows. Or when Lord Shiva wanted to see directly the potency of the Lord, so then to bewilder him, That's also interesting when the Lord manifested the form of Mohini Murti. So it's not just the form, but also the mood and everything. The Lord was smiling. Okay, you want to see. But Lord Shiva thinks, I'm dealing with Durga, the Parvati. She's the greatest Shakti within this material world. I've seen all the manifestations, pious ones, good ones, and those terrifying ones like Kali and Bhadra and everything. There's nothing that can bewilder me. There's nothing that can, So even if I see that potency of Lord Vishnu, I won't be bewildered. But then Vishnu, just to play some trick, like among the friends, just to have a little interesting exchange, then he smiles and he considers, okay, how can I bewilder Lord Shiva? So then he even manifesting that form of Mohini Murti. And it's not just the form, but the mood and the way of acting and everything that bewildered completely Lord Shiva. So this is that potency that is there, that again, it's engaging us or it's not engaging us in Krishna's service. Because that's what Krishna stated to Lord Brahma. He said that no, anything that appears of some value, but is separated from me, and it's a reflection in the darkness, knowing it to be my illusory potency. So this is what material energy is. This is Maya. This is the darkness. This is the darkness of illusion, where, as Srila Prabhupada mentions here in the verse, where we think that we are the doer. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha hankarami mudatma kartaham iti manyate. We consider ourselves to be the doer, but actually we are just led through the experience. Like you're taken on a ride. You're just sitting, you sit in some body, and you're just led through, and you practically have the only thing that you can sometimes notice that you're led through, that you're having some kind of experience, that you may be somewhat different than what your mind is or your body is. By some higher little consciousness, one may maybe just notice that. Otherwise, he's just completely bewildered, thinking that I'm this body, I'm this mind. And this is how material energy or Maya bewilders the conditioned soul. Bewilders him. It attracts him. It's Krishna's potency. What is greater than Krishna's potency? Nothing. Krishna's potency is so wonderful. It's so attractive. We have practically no hope against that potency. The only thing that we can do is just to choose better, let's use the same potency, but in the reverse way, meaning engaging ourselves in Krishna's service, so that we can please Krishna and ultimately get out from this illusory material world and go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sometimes it happens, a devotee who is sincere and is sincerely trying to advance in Krishna consciousness, we see that there are so many challenges, obstacles, and it also happens sometimes he is thrown away also from path of Krishna consciousness. Is it a test for him, or he has some karma? How Yog Maya is working?
Well, usually when it's a test, then we would have to be very advanced. Krishna deals with the devotees or testing them when they're pretty much advanced. Not initially. Initially, usually it's understood it's just acting of our karma. It's pretty much acting of our karma. Because to consider that Krishna is directly involved with us, that would be that would be a nice way of thinking, but it is not exactly as things happen. Usually we are not yet surrendered. Krishna deals with his devotees. We are some kind of devotees of Krishna, but not really yet. We're just trying to be a devotees, and therefore mostly what is involved is it's our karma. It's not Krishna really directly being involved with us. So that's why here it is stated, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. Krishna acts through his potencies. It doesn't directly get involved. Unless we really decide to surrender, then he may interfere. So it depends to which level we really decide to surrender to Krishna, to start serving Krishna, or we don't. And then we are just completely under the different potency. And most likely therefore under the Mahamaya, which is just, manifesting our certain type of karma.
Actually, my question is, according to his karma, he gets material things, material results, success or failure. but that sometimes that becomes obstacles in progress of Krishna consciousness. So, and he is sincere also. So then how this potentially works as Yogamaya or...
So then by Krishna's mercy, then you may say that then potency may, if somebody is really sincere, then some of those obstacles might be set aside by the karma. They might be set aside and one may advance. Like we know when someone takes initiation, the karma is set aside or some things are burned. Some burden is, some relief is given in that way. But then one really has to be sincere. And if one decides again not to become sincere, and it's given back. Karma still then, it's given, some portion at least. Because we see when anyone leaves devotional service, he ends up, where he started his spiritual life. Goes back exactly where he left off. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Can I add something to his question?
Yeah.
As rightly His Grace Adbhut Hari Prabhu said, it is because of karma only a practicing devotee faces tests. Advaita Acharya, he proclaims when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his way to Jagannath Puri after sannyas, then devotees, they request Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there is Mughal empire going on, that is running here, and you will face difficulties in going to Jagannath Puri. It's not so easy. Then Mahaprabhu says, anyway I will go. Then Advaita Acharya says, all obstacles on the path of devotional service are the servants of Lord Krishna. They are meant to help us, basically. Even the karmas of the practicing devotees, those difficulties as you are asking, they are also meant to serve and help the devotee, practicing devotee, so that he takes intense shelter of Krishna. As one Acharya explains, tests and difficulties come in both devotee's life. Pure devotee's life, they come like Prabhupada. All the difficulties came in his life, and a practicing devotee like us also faces difficulties. So these tests and difficulties come in the life of a pure devotee to glorify them, like Prabhupada is eternally glorified now, how he went to America. And to a practicing devotee to purify them. So to pure devotee to glorify, and a practicing devotee to purify from our bad karmas, as Prabhuji said it correctly. So it is just meant to help us to take intense shelter of the Lord, nothing else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There's one more.
Prabhuji, just like you said, if one really decides to surrender, so Yogamaya arranges everything. Otherwise, at initial stages of his devotional service, his devotional life, he struggles due to his karma. So what does it mean that if he really decided to surrender? What is that stage, or what it mean? What he decides, what he do?
Well, that can be different. It can manifest in different extents, that level of surrender. Like initially one appears to be very, not appears, but it is very inspired. And he's ready practically to do anything. And he'll do just any kind of service without reservation. Won't find faults in the devotees. It will consider that every devotee is like a, direct associate with Krishna or something. So that stage is there, and Krishna gives taste. Krishna gives it. Everyone has the experience that in the beginning some taste is there that devotee doesn't deserve himself. So Krishna gives the taste. And then one decides really, let me try to serve Krishna. Let me put myself in such a circumstance where I can serve Krishna more and more and more and more. So that stage is there. So that kind of stage, that's pretty much a stage of surrender. When we are ready to, as I said, perform any kind of service and follow any devotee, instructing us how to advance in the spiritual life. Later on, sometimes again that, then Krishna withdraws to some extent that mercy, and we then have to struggle and deal with that karma that we are carrying, and we have to start deserving that mercy then. it's not exactly the same. But the mood of surrender can continue. So now it depends. Again, to which extent we are desiring to surrender. And if you don't desire to surrender, then again there will be that desire, okay, maybe I want to still control, I want to still enjoy. So then there is a struggle. So when we decide to surrender, meaning again, perform any kind of devotional service in relationship to Krishna, follow devotees, not finding faults, that's pretty much the level of surrender. Okay?
The same question is like this. You said, if somebody desire to serve Krishna, then Yogamaya arranges everything. So that desire alone will work, or...
Yes, but you have to act upon desire. You have to have strong desire. If that desire, you will see how strong it is, whether Yogamaya starts acting in your life. If that desire is so strong, then you will see just things happening and manifesting the way that's something that's just beyond your capacity even to understand. How is it happening? And that's what I said, that's what Prabhupada, there's nothing that is impossible then. There's nothing that is impossible. It becomes possible. So if that happens, that means, okay, that desire was strong enough.
If somebody joins very easily the ashram, so how he will understand that it is the arrangement of Yogamaya or it's due to his karma, past
Nothing
karma?
is easy. You're carrying something from your previous life. That means you already have some understanding, some credit which will be just, it will be either supported or it will be, like more enforced. So that means you're just starting from the level where you've left off. So it's not joins easily. That means there was something earlier before that brought you to that level. So it will be just, confirmed. Yeah. Okay, we'll discuss after. It's 9:10, so we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.